So excited. We have a major legend on the show today. Coming up next, a new wave band that came out of nowhere to rule the charts in 1982 with a #1 hit that kicked off the second British invasion and was the opening shot for sure. But then 4 years after that, the pressure was on this band to replicate that success in America after they had a failed album and a failed song where neither of them made the top 50. So they came up with another left-field idea, trading in the robotic sound for a smooth and emotive track where the singer admits to his girlfriend that he cheated on her. He's shocked to find out that she's pretty forgiving because she cheated on him too. Coming up next, the legendary co-writer and producer of this song tells the story of working with the new romantic new wave band and how he transformed the robotic singer into one of the most moving performances of the 80s, one of the best songs of the 80s. This song hit #1 and ruled 4 major charts, and really it's become one of the foundational tracks of the 80s. Stories coming up next on Professor of Rock. Hey, music junkies, Professor of Rock, always here to celebrate the greatest artists and the greatest songs of all time. You know, if you believe a song is the closest thing that we have to a time machine in this world, you're going to enjoy this channel of deep musical nostalgia. Make sure to subscribe below right now. Click the white button so you never miss an episode, so you always know when our latest interviews and stories are coming up. Also, sign up at professorofrock.com. I'm really excited to bring you a very special episode from our series Revelations, where featured artists reveal rare stories about their biggest songs, along with fascinating insight about their careers, stuff you won't find anywhere else. Today, we have one of the greatest hit makers in the history of music on the show. He and his partner produced 16 #1 hits on the Billboard Hot 100. He's helped write many of those, and he's really versatile too. First working under the tutelage of Prince when he was in the band The Time. Then he got fired by the Purple One, only to come back with one of the most successful careers ever. I'm talking about Mr. Jimmy Jam, who is deservedly in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, he and his partner Terry Lewis. They've done things that only a select few have done in the history of music. But today I want to talk about one of their early masterpieces with the new wave band, the Human League. So we're going to travel back to 1986. So Jam and Lewis had just co-written and produced the Janet Jackson blockbuster Control. Which had 5 top 5 hits on it. And the Human League, they were in a bit of a rut. They'd come out of nowhere here in the United States to dominate the charts in 1982 with their classic, Don't You Want Me. Don't you want me, baby? One of the most successful new wave songs ever. After having a hit with Keep Feeling Fascination, they'd struggle on the American charts, especially when their 1984 album Hysteria failed to make the top 50, and their single, The Lebanon, missed the top 40 altogether. So they were looking for a comeback, and they sought out Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, who wrote the perfect song for the League, but it would take a big makeover. The song Human was about a guy who cheats on his lover, and he's absolutely distraught about it and comes clean to his girl, explaining that he's only human, born to make mistakes. Born to make mistakes. What kind of excuse is that? Then later in the song, the woman reveals that while he was away, that she cheated on him too, saying she's human as well.
While we were apart, I was human too.
Musically, this is one of the most emotional songs of the 80s. But the lyrics, and the song's subject, it was going to take a big voice and a great performance to pull off. Problem was, lead singer Philip Oakey was known for his robotic voice, very mechanical style. So Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis had to work their magic. And the result, and Jimmy's going to talk about it, it's one of the most emotional and moving vocals of the 80s, truly. So many times I looked and saw your face. So great that you actually feel this guy's pain and you have a little bit of empathy for the cheating SOB. There's also some spoken word in the song, and that's pretty tough to pull off without sounding cheesy. Even Elvis waffled a little bit.
I wonder if you're lonesome tonight.
Jimmy explains how they pulled that off as well. The song was a smashing success. It hit number 3 on the R&B charts. It hit number 1 on the dance charts, number 3 on the adult contemporary charts, and #1 on the Hot 100 and Cashbox charts, making it one of the most successful crossover songs of the 80s and of all time. It also hit #1 in Canada and #8 in the UK, and top 10 pretty much everywhere else. But there was some drama when the song was recorded, and I'll let Jimmy tell you about that. They had to put their foot down. Let's get into it. Yeah, Human League, this is always interesting to me because this is about the time that this hit #1 that I realized, like you used to read the liner notes, I started studying the liner notes, and I started realizing, oh, Holland, Dozier Holland, Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis. Who are, man, these guys are on every one of, okay, they produced Janet's album. Now they've done this, or they're doing this, Who are these guys? And so that's when I started to look out for every record that you guys would have your hands on. But it always seemed so strange to me, you guys in the Human League, because of course I'd heard Don't You Want Me, everybody had, right? Yeah. Don't you want me, baby? Tell me about how that came together, because it seems like such an interesting...
Human League was John McClane. He said, we got this group, the Human League, have you heard of them? I said, yeah. Don't You Want Me, of course I'd heard. Fascination, I love. He said, well, they're working on a new album, and I think it'd be great if you guys produced it. And we were like, really? I'm not sure. And of course, John was like, come on, I didn't steer you wrong. I didn't steer you wrong on Janet. I didn't steer you wrong on... Yeah, it's like, okay, John, okay, fine, whatever. So I remember they sent over the songs they were working on. We liked them. We thought they were really good. They just basically wanted to take what they had written and have us kind of interpret it in our style, like use sort of our drum programs and our different stuff. But we told them, just bring over all your equipment. We'll start with kind of what you guys already have. And it was minor tweaks. It was like, speed this up a little, slow this down a little. I mean, it wasn't that big a deal. It was just kind of, let's kind of make it a little more human. Excuse the pun, because their stuff had always been so robotic. So I think one of the things we tried to do was try to bring a little more humanity into the computerness of their stuff.
Yeah. Definitely Phil Oakley's best vocal. You definitely got his best vocal out of it.
That's Terry. That's Terry. That's vocal master. And, the other thing that happened on this record was after the Control record, Steve Hodge said, the next record you guys do, I'm going to come up and show you guys how to record. So that the Human League was the show us how to record record. So Steve was involved in the recording process and all of that. So it's a great sounding record because of that, I think. It's interesting though, the fact that Phil's vocal was so good on Human actually caused a bit of friction in that, he worked hard on that vocal. Terry probably worked I'd say 5 days straight every single day on the vocal. And he killed it. Beautiful vocal. Come on, baby, dry your eyes. So when we did the backgrounds on it, we did, back in that day, I used to call Terry Mr. Background. Terry would go in and do all these vocal parts because he had a voice that was just kind of almost transparent. Like it sounded beautiful, but it just kind of worked. And then we had this girl, Lisa Keith, worked on the Janet record with us, and we had her come in and do a background part. So now I remember we play the record for him, basically just a rough mix of what we had. And Phil was like, oh my God, it's beautiful. I can't believe I sound like that. It's like, yeah, you did a great job. It sounds great. And the girls were kind of like, yeah, it's good. Yeah, it's good. Whatever. All right. So the next day, and now Phil was seeing Joanne, who's the brunette. Yeah. So they go back to the hotel. So the next day, Phil comes to the door of the studio and he says, I just have to say, I don't do a good British accent, but he goes, I just have to say that we don't like the other girl on the track. Now, the other girl was Lisa Keith. And we said, huh?
Yeah.
I just have to say that we don't like the other girl on the track. We say, wait a minute. You say you don't like the other girl on the track. And he says, yes, I just have to say, we don't like the other girl on the track. And Terry goes, oh, you just have to say, you don't like the girl on the track.
Yeah.
He goes, yes, I just have to say. We said, we got you, dude. We got you. No worries. Because we know what happened.
Yeah.
You went home and got an earful all night.
Yep.
We know what happened.
Yep.
So anyway, that was probably one of the only records we've ever drawn a line in the sand. And the line was basically, the records we do, that we write, we're going to finish them the way we want to finish them. It's very simple. Or we're just going to take them off. And that was it. And of course, we said that to the label. And they're like, no, that's the first single. Are you kidding me? You can't do that. I said, okay. I said, I'm not, we're not, because that's not the way we operate anyway. But it was just a kind of a simple thing. It's like, how are you? And so that's when we came up with the spoken part for the girls.
Yeah.
Because Terry said, we can put them on there doing something. Why don't we have them speak these lines? And so he wrote it out real quick and they went in and did it. And of course, it's such a cutting line.
While we were apart, I was human too.
While we were apart, I was human too.
Yeah.
Oh, come on, Terry Lewis.
Kind of makes the song
Ouch.
turn into this story.
Ouch.
Yeah, as opposed to it's already a phenomenal song. I mean, just such a great melody, but to have that part kind of throws you off a little bit. It's great.
That's the
Well, and you guys are
that's
so
the dagger.
great, and that's maybe it's Terry, but you guys are so great also at spoken word, because that's the easiest thing in the world to come out cheesy on a record.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, I love Elvis, but on Are You Lonesome Tonight? I wonder if you're lonesome tonight.
I wonder if you're lonesome tonight.
Yeah.
It's just really cheesy and it doesn't work. But you guys do it. It just comes out so sincere, like on Come Back to Me when Janet does her part on that.
Please come back to me. I miss you so much.
It's
Right,
sincere.
right.
It's real.
Right. And I think that it's just, we pay attention to that kind of stuff. Like we do a lot of comping of vocals, meaning that our technique is normally that we let the singers just go in and sing, mistakes and all. Just make the mistakes, don't worry about it. And then we'll go back afterwards and we'll fix everything that we possibly can. But when I say fix it, I don't necessarily mean fix it to be perfect. I just mean find all the moments that are great. We do the same thing when it's speaking stuff. We'll do 10 tracks of the speaking, and then we may take a phrase from here, a word from here, or whatever that is, and go back to the Leon Silvers influence and make sure that it reads right. Because as you're listening down, if something catches your ear wrong, it's like, no, we got to redo that, because it should all just seamlessly work at the end of the day.
Well, it became this record where it became a second act for the Human League. They weren't just, the Don't You Want Me. It became human. I mean, I can only think of a few acts that ever made the rhythm and blues chart that were a new wave act. I mean, I guess Blondie, Rapture.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just not very many. And you guys were able to do that. Number one hit, of course.
Now, here's the interesting thing. One other thing I'll say about the Human League. We got along great. I mean, I've read stuff in the past that they said they thought they were puppets, and I've read all this stuff. And I have no recollection of anything like that happening. On my side of it, I feel like there was culture clash, probably because they're coming from a small town in England, Sheffield, England, and coming to Minneapolis in the middle of the wintertime. I think there was a lot of pretty jarring things. So, and I'm sure everybody's experience in a group, everybody's experience is probably different. At the end of the day, we enjoyed working with them and obviously happy for their success. And, I love Phil to this day. I haven't seen him in a long time, but he killed it. He was such a hard worker and he was such a caring guy. I mean, he really cared about everybody in the group and everybody's egos. they had already broken up a couple times and got back together, and there was all that kind of stuff. So it was a fragile thing. And they were trying to keep everybody together, make sure the guys wrote it, had enough of each song, feel like there was a whole lot of politics. Overall, it was a really good experience.
Well, that vocal, no one else could ever take your place.
Yep.
Man, that's just one of the best moments
Thank you.
on that record.
That's a Terry Lewis moment. Herb came after Human League. Now, we had been on a nice little roll for quite a while. Clarence Avant, who's our kind of godfather, mentor, people said manager, but he never really managed us. But he was always there for us. Most influential person in our life. After Human League hit big, he ordered us to take a couple weeks off. We said, "No, Clarence, we gotta keep going, man. We're on a roll." He said, "No. You guys shut down for a couple weeks." He says, "Because you're never going to do it. So you have to consciously do it." And we said, okay, cool. He said, all right. And he says, "And the rule is you can't go to the studio." We said, "What do you mean you can't? Why can't we go to the studio?" He says, "No, you can't go to the studio. 2 weeks." So I remember the first week was like excruciating. I remember I would call Terry and I go, "What you doing, man?" "Oh, nothing, man." "Oh, can't go to the studio, man. We go see a movie or something, man?" "Yeah, let's go see a movie," or whatever. I mean, it was just like, it was crazy.
I love it.
Second week, we were like so relaxed. We were like, "Yeah, what's up, man? Good? Yeah, everything's cool, man. Yeah, let's go grab some lunch or something, man. Yeah, okay, let's go." Second week. At the end of the second week, we called up Clarence and we said, "Clarence, can we get a third week?" He said, "Absolutely." I said, "Cool." So we took a third week off. And we didn't know how much we needed to recharge and just get out of it. And we needed to learn that everything's not going to collapse if we take
a couple weeks off.
Yeah. Coming back from that, we were trying to figure out what we were going to do next, like what was going to be the next project. And John McClane said, "Man, you should do something on Herb. Man, there's no pressure, man. There's no pressure, man. Herb, you ain't worried about hits, man. Just make a record. Just do what y'all do, man, and just have fun, man. He loves y'all, man. He loves you." And we said, "Oh, we love him." So we said, "Okay, great. Let's do that. We'll do a record for Herb." And so it was the perfect record to do coming out of our kind of hiatus.
Hibernation,
yeah. Because we really went into it with no pressure. Remember, we came up with Keep Your Eye on Me. We said we got to have an instrumental that's just got to have a quick little hook or, something. He was all for. He was like, the cool thing about Herb was so laid back. He was like, "Hey man, whatever you guys want to do." And he was a wicked ping pong player too.
Really?
Oh man, him and Terry used to go at it. We still got, I think somewhere we got like $5 framed or something that we won, but then he's got a 10 that he did. It was crazy.
Yeah.
We had some battles, but he was so cool, man. Just what a great heart and what a talented musician. And all of that. And it was like real cool. And I remember we said to Janet, "Janet, would you do something for Herb's album?" And she said, "Yeah, of course." She said, "What do you want me to do?" And I said, "We got this song called Diamonds." And I said, "We're going to do it with you and Lisa Keith." And she said, "Oh, I love Lisa." She said, "Yeah, we'll do that. That's great."
Don't you know, diamonds are a girl's best friend.
And so we ended up doing that. And then Making Love in the Rain, we had Lisa Keith did the vocal on that, and then Janet did the backgrounds. And then for the other song, we did a song called Pillow, and we knew that Herb sang, not a lot, but he had done, This Guy's in Love with You and done some different things.
Oh yeah.
His wife was Lonnie Hall from Brazil's 66, and we thought it would be cool to have them do something together. So we wrote that song specifically so that they could do basically a high-low unison.
Tell me if you feel the same.
For us, it was such a pleasant way to kind of jump back into, producing and writing and stuff. And a way to say thank you to her.
Oh,
because what a tremendous dude. And, we had so much success at that point with A&M. And we just felt like the right thing to do. And to get him, he got a gold record, a #1 record out of it. And it was so cool to me just to be able to do that for him.
Humans found new life in the 2020s as one of the most used songs on Instagram and TikTok to celebrate the nostalgia of the 80s. This music is perfect for that. It was also an inspiration for Robert Smith of The Cure when he did the Wish album. It's just a magical song. But what do you think? Leave us a comment about Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis and the Human League. What are your memories of this song? What do you think about it? I mean, seriously, if you pull stuff up on Instagram and TikTok, it's just one of those songs that's used on memes about the 80s. The music is just elegant. It just is so nostalgic. I love it. What do you think? Let's celebrate it down below and have a great discussion. If you like our content, we invite you to subscribe. Love to have you as part of our community. Till next time, Records and the Truth.